Welcome to Tuesday Tea, the space where we get real, get honest, and talk about the things that actually matter. I'm your host, Alicia Bakker-Mudrock, therapist, Pilates teacher, coach, and author of Leading Lady Energy.
And I'm Melissa Levine, educator, coach, and your co-host for the conversations that don't shy away from the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between.
Each week, we sit down with incredible humans, leaders, creatives, parents, dreamers, people who've lived, struggled, succeeded, and figured things out the hard way.
We share stories, ask real questions, and highlight the badass people out there doing the work.
So grab your tea
Or your other favorite beverage.
and let's dive in.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, we are back today on this February morning with me and Melissa. I'm back. And today we have Annie, who is a good new friend I have made down here in Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. She is an awesome individual, and I definitely knew I wanted her to come on and share a little bit about her story and her wisdom, as there is so much to gain from her. But I'm going to let her sort of give you a little background on where she's coming from, a little bit more about who she is, aside from just being awesome. And then we'll get into our talk. So welcome, Annie. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. My name's Annie. I'm 26, almost 27, but I just opened a business with my best friend, Shalash and Bra Bar. So we're located in Fort Myers. We're both from up north originally. I moved down here when I was 17, which is a huge life change. And then now years later, so many different things have gone on. I got my esthetician license 2 years ago, and then we just opened our business. So we're officially 6 months in business, which is exciting, but it has been quite a journey getting here.
And I know you're a big dog lover.
Yes, and I also have 3 dogs.
And I love that.
Yes, I have all the dogs. I also love yoga and Pilates too, but I originally started doing yoga.
Yeah.
And it became a huge passion of mine. So that's the next step in life is going to be getting certified. I love just like wellness as well. I think that like the industry I'm in is a lot about wellness and taking care of yourself and feeling good about yourself. And I know for me personally, like I love working out. I love moving my body. It motivates you to eat better, you feel better, you have more energy. So this is really like we're really trying to get that brand of wellness and something I'm so passionate about as well.
Yeah. No, and I think your studio does such a great job of feeling really inclusive and not as much about the like aesthetics in a negative way that industry can get into, right? Like it's all there, but it's like more about like meeting people like with their faces and their who they are and like beautifying that versus like needing to fit into like a bubble. So I really appreciate that about you guys too, because
I
it
say
can be
enhance, don't change.
yes. But I mean, like, we all can have a little Botox, but, I think sometimes we can feel like such a pressure cooker in there. But anyways, we'll get more to that. But I think what we really wanted to kind of chat through today, because I know for all of us, we're all in sort of like we're hitting the 20s, 30s, and 40s life stages of just kind of like our own transitions through careers and jobs and what we've done. And so I'd love to kind of just hear about your journey of how you landed, not only just getting an esthetician license, which might be different than what you did before, but like starting a whole ass business in your 20s and like things that is not easy. So we'd love to just kind of pick your brain about that journey and whatever you have to share, wisdom you have to impart to our listeners.
Yeah. So as I said, I went here when I was 17. I always wanted to go into culinary, which is like so kind of different. It's actually not as different as you think it would be, but it's different. So I always wanted to get into culinary because I love cooking and it was like my first passion. But I went vegan when I was 15 and that kind of changed it because I was like, I can't go to regular culinary school. It changed. And then I was right by New York City. I always thought, oh, I'm going to live in the city. I'm going to love it. Moved to the city. I was like, okay, this is actually not for me. Great to visit. Not going to live here. But that's like why you should travel and move to different places when you're young and see what you do and don't like. At least I know you've traveled a ton too.
Yeah.
So
Melissa has lived a few places as well. She's not just from here. She's from a whole other country.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think you kind of have to and do different things. So then when I moved down here, I was like, okay, change of plans. I went to like a culinary school. I worked in culinary and then I was like, I don't think that this is I wanted to strictly work vegan and that's not what the market is here. So kind of switch things up. And then my friend was like, oh, you should work front of the house. You should work in a rush, like as a server. And I was like, okay. She's like, you make great money and you're like young, making $500, $600, $700 a night. And you're like, wow. But then you realize when you get into your early 20s, this is not sustainable. It has a lifestyle of partying and going out. And a lot of the people that you meet are really like your party friends, not your friends' friends. Well, that's what I met Amanda when we were 18. We met in a restaurant. We didn't like each other at first, which is we always joke about.
That's the
I thought
best
she was
kind
like
of friendships,
snobby.
though. My
Yeah.
fake friendships,
I was
I
like,
either they hated me or I just like was like not interested. Even my husband.
yeah.
So like I think that's the best friendships and relationships stem from like a first
Like,
like,
now you're stuck with
not about
me.
you.
Yeah. So I met her, we became really good friends, and then, I kind of just got caught up in it, and then I was like, "Okay, I need to do something else." I was, like, in property management, they were like, "Oh, you should get your CAM license," and I saw how much they made, and I was like, "I could make way more in a restaurant," and then, like, this whole idea of, like, how much I could make was so distorted of, like, "Oh, I could go to school and get a license and only make this much money. I could go and serve tomorrow night and make $500,
Right.
$100,
Right.
But the service industry, I think everyone kind of should do at some point or something similar because you do learn so much. You learn about so much with people, talking to people. I was so shy growing up, and that definitely taught me like how to just go up and talk to people and how to handle
Yeah.
situations that are uncomfortable. You just have to do
Mhm.
it. So you learn from everything. And then, and then I got into real estate and I was doing real estate and I was like, oh, I actually don't love this. Like, if this isn't something I'm passionate about, it feels like you're like chasing a bag. I don't want to feel like that. I want to do something that I'm doing because I love it. I don't want to do it for the money. So then I was like, okay, that tried it out for 2 years. I invested in property. So I use my license for that now. And then I was like, okay, what do I do? I went through a really bad breakup and I was just like, we had this whole idea of what life was going to look like for us and what we were going to do. And then it all came crumbling down. And I was like 23 and I was like, okay, what do I do now? But it's so
Mm,
funny when you don't go to college because most people are starting their lives at 22, 23 when they get out of college. And I was like, well, I've already had multiple jobs that I've
that's a
done
yeah.
and different things. So I'm like, so I feel like I'm 30, but I'm 23 trying to like having a crisis. And Amanda was like, you love skincare. She had her license. She was out of the industry for a little bit because of like a non-compete, got back into it. And she was like, why don't you get your license? You love skincare. Call my mom a spa mom. She gets like facials and everything all the time. And so I'd go with her and she said, don't get a facial. It's going to ruin your skin. And I never listened to her. And then I went and I'd get ruined. So I got really into skincare because I was trying to like fix what happened to my skin. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, why not? I'll just try it. And then I went to school and I ended up loving it. Like, it was
Yeah.
something I was passionate about. And then why I say kind of relates to culinary is because culinary is all about mixing your ingredients and how things turn out.
Yeah.
And in aesthetics, we do something called cocktailing with ingredients, where you're mixing different ingredients together to either make them stronger, make them weaker, to customize to somebody.
Mhm.
So I always like to, I'm like, oh, it's like making a little recipe, like, for someone like specifically for what they want or for
Yeah.
what their singles are. So then that's how I kind of got into it. So I've been an esthetician for almost 2 years now. And then I said, okay, I'm going to work somewhere for a year. I'm going to gain experience. I'm going to learn from others and then we're gonna open our own place. And then when Amanda was just like pissed at work and she was like, we just need to do it. We just need to do it. It's been almost a year. She found our location. They had availability when we wanted it. She called us back. She's like, hey, I have an opening for the time you want in June. And we're like, okay, cool, let's do it. So we're very last minute with everything, but we were like, if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it. We just need to get it done. So
I love
yeah, we
it.
were like fire into the ass, 2 months of buying everything, looking and researching, and kind of just like went all in. But now we're 6 months in, and everything we wanted to happen is happening. We're reaching our goal, so definitely worth it.
Melissa, isn't she like so wise for a 20 something year old? When I first met her, I was like, no way you're only 20, but okay,
Yeah,
like, that doesn't even make sense.
totally. I've never thought about that. What you said about college, though, Annie, is really wise. I think I never thought about it like that. But when you're in college, you still are essentially like this kid, right? Like your job is going to school. Like even if you work or what, I always worked through. Whoa, I always worked through college, so I like always had a job. But there is still a sense of like you're a kid. You're kind of still depending on
You're
your
like being
parent.
housed with other people. There's still like collective take.
Exactly.
People are still like
You
checking on
have a
you, taking
structure
care
for
of you.
you.
You have like
Totally. And you,
food if you need it at the cafeteria. Like it's
yeah.
you're still in
There's
a
a
little
certain
community.
level that you're not actually independent
Right.
at that stage. I mean, like there's varying levels, I think, depending on like if you had family support or whatever in college. Like I want to acknowledge a lot of people went and did that on their own. So they probably have a different level of independence within that. But yeah, that's really interesting that you had lived like several lives and jobs before you had, like where most people were just graduating from college, like, what am I going to do? I resonate with that though, because after college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so like I did I became a flight attendant because I'm like, well, I need to like get out. And like, I went to college locally. So, like I went home every weekend. Like it didn't really feel like the authentic college experience. And I was so glad that I did that because I think my horizons just expanded. And like, it's not even the job as much as like just the getting out of like your little bubble and like meeting new people. And like, I did live in a big city and that was a huge change. And now I'm like such a city girl. Like I will never, you will have to like drag me kicking and screaming to the suburbs. Like I just can't, I can't do it. Yeah. So it's interesting. And then I think like for me, I ended up in education. Like I'm so mad at myself because in college, as like a 20-year-old, when you have to pick your major, to your point, it's like, I don't fucking know what I want to do. I don't even know who I am yet. I'm like self-discovering and all that. But I didn't do that job. I didn't major in education because I thought, well, teachers don't make a lot of money and I want to make a lot of money. And it's just like so silly anyway to think that someone at 18, 20, 21 knows what they're going to do, right? That's insane. But also what's of course super ironic is every job I had, like I worked at Starbucks in management for like through college, but like then ended up being a manager at Starbucks.
See Melissa at Starbucks in
Yeah,
college.
because you got like free
did
drinks.
that. It was great.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is Melissa working today? Okay, cool. I want to go see her.
Well, in that case, I'll get
friends in high places. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like poor. I didn't work through college. So I was like, yes,
totally.
free
Well,
Starbucks,
and
free.
now like a drink is like $10, like literally. Then I thought it was expensive and it was only like $4.
Like $3.95.
Yeah, but we were like poor, so that makes sense. But yeah, like all the jobs that I've done kind of prepared me to be a teacher and then prepared me for this like leadership role that I'm in now. So it's just interesting how that experience and like getting out and doing things sometimes is even more important than college. I'm not here to say like don't go to college, but I honestly think sometimes that isn't the path for everyone. And you learn so much more by just getting out and doing. So that resonated with me.
Yeah, life experience, I think,
Totally
goes so far. And I always tell people, I'm like, even like my cousins, I was like, go to college and move after. Like, don't just go home and get stuck. Go do something else. Go travel somewhere. I might, especially like, because I will say, like, traveling is such a privilege. My mom was a lawyer growing up. My dad owned his own business. So like I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I always knew I was not going to be good at working for someone because I definitely like my dad. So I think like I always knew that I was going to open a business of some kind. I was like, just didn't know exactly what. And there's still more businesses I want to open. Like this isn't the end. This is the start to so many more different things and outlets. And I've met so many interesting people too. Like Alicia, I've just met so many amazing women even owning a business. And then even like I met a girl today and she's younger. I'm going to shout out her because she started an app for local businesses in Southwest Florida called Rise Southwest Florida. It's like local businesses.
Oh, I've seen it. I didn't know.
And
seen her stuff.
We're on it, but I got lunch. She's like 21, 22 years old. She started a business. She has like 2 jobs. She's in college. Like she's amazing. I was like, wow, you've done so. She's like, and she's done so many things and she made sure that she like traveled and did different things, but traveling is such a privilege. So I think that like for people who are like flight attendants and you can go and travel and like kind of, and work to travel is amazing. But I did travel a lot growing up and I feel like every single time I went somewhere new, my dad was very like, you need to learn about people, you learn the culture. And he's like a city boy. So he's like, you need to be aware of your surroundings, you need to know and like be able to read people. And then growing up with that mindset, then you work in a restaurant, you are with people all the time. You're meeting so many new people a day. The cortisol levels are very high. We're like finally chilling out now.
Yes.
But yeah, everything you do, it's like, but it is so interesting to see that like what your career is now, you've had so many other things that you've done. And I think it's just something that people don't talk about when like we see people at their end game, we never see people like not everyone will see you through your whole journey.
Right. No, I think it's like a rite of passage that you had to work in the restaurant industry because my move was for grad school because I went to school like not far from my house, like college with Melissa, not far from my house either, but then moved to New York for grad school. And then when I finished, I'd done school for 23 years and I was like, I don't want to do anything for a minute because like what just happened, right? And so I was going to move back to California and then we stopped I was out with my friend on a holiday weekend and it was like in a movie. We were on our way somewhere and they texted and we're like, we're not going to be there. So we're like, stop the cab. And it was like stopped on like a random corner and it was in front of this restaurant. And we went in and the waitress was from Arizona. And I was like, oh, I'm from California, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, we're hiring. And I was like, well, I've never worked in a restaurant before. She's like, you just graduated from Columbia. Like, you can serve in a restaurant. Like, it's not that hard. She's like, just pretend you have and I'll get you an interview. Got an interview, got hired 2 days later. And then I started working at Puck Fair in New York, which no longer exists, RIP, but it was an Irish pub in Soho. And I worked there for a whole year. And to your point, made a fuck ton of money and then got like a real job in my career for social work and did 2 jobs for a while and was working 7 days a week because you can do that in your 20s. And then I like transitioned and I was so confused why I was so poor when I went just to my salary job because I was like, I don't understand where did all my money go. But it was like something that wasn't on my bucket list. And yet I think that restaurant and that experience and what it opened up, in addition to growing my career and being able to then like now own my own private practice for therapy, but expanded it to how I met my friend who got me into Pilates, which now here we are. It's how I got to like meet more people that weren't like me because I grew up very like sheltered in a lot of ways. And it was like a good expansion. And to your point, like learning skills about yourself and all of that. So I do think it is so funny how it doesn't always make sense in the moments, but I always think it's such a good reminder in life when you're like, oh, I'm like exactly where I'm supposed to be. You know, like that cab moment, that like moving, meeting Taylor in New Orleans and then moving and starting a private practice out of necessity and like owning a business, sort of being forced into it, but happy I did it. And then being able to open more. Like they all build, like you said, on getting where we are now and where we're still going. And I love like looking back and like finding those aha moments. And I think it's so important to celebrate and acknowledge the work we've put in and the like aligned steps we've taken for ourselves and how well we have listened to ourselves, because I don't think a lot of people do that. And I think we're unique in that way because others might be listening or other folks we might know might have just done the path they were supposed to do, but not be like loving their lives to the extent they could because they just kind of like didn't check in. They just did the steps instead of like making the steps work for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know. I think it's so funny too, because even like when you think about like your siblings too, like my brother is going to be a lawyer. He took after my mom, but he's like so unhappy. And I'm like, Nick, you can find something that can make that you're still doing law, but makes you happier. Like I get like, yeah, it's your first 2 years. You're in like this is your starting. But he went in to it for the money, and I was just like, it's so funny how you can be raised when and you've had very similar. Like we've traveled the same pretty much. Like we're such similar experiences, yet we're so different. And it's so interesting too because you meet. I mean, even like you're gonna meet different people, and they're so different from you. I think you can learn from everyone, like something good or bad. But I think so interesting. It's like a lot of people do you're just like going through the steps and this is how you think life has to go. And you even see it all the time. It's so funny because my mom always told me growing up, and she was always like, don't in your 20s, like just try to like, you're looking for a husband. She's like, everyone's looking for a husband, looking to get married. She always told me, she was like, there's no rush. There's no pressure. I mean, she lived to like 32. She's like, there's no rush, there's no pressure, like know yourself first. It's beautiful. I think if you can grow with someone you meet when you're young, there's so many relationships that work like that. But she always told me, she was like, you want to do really cool things. Don't. And then I ended up being in a relationship when I was 17, 18 for 6 years. And I was like, what just happened
Long
to those
time.
years of my life? So but there's so many women too who you hear them all the same experience. It's like, if you watch Tell Me Lies, it's like the Steven, it's like the mediocre man that's like a piece of shit. Like we all go through it. So I think a lot of us have very similar experiences, but I think that they're just not all talked about as much. But I think that's why like TikTok and different things are so popular. It's like and podcasts, we're having the conversations that we don't usually have, and you can learn from people. If we had TikTok when I was 18, I would probably be in a much different space now than
Can you
the
imagine
algorithms are
that?
too accurate.
I know. I'm like, what did we had like MySpace in high school. I guess that was our TikTok was MySpace that age.
Remember how you had your top friends? And I read
Yes.
something recently that's like,
Oh, people in fights.
these
People
kids
couldn't handle it.
today would not be able to live in our shoes. Like we
No.
literally label our
Raped
friends for the
people.
world to see. Like that's
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we had people
wild.
making fake accounts in high school of people and like talking shit to other people, and then we had like the apps had to get shut down because it was like bullying and harassment. It was like
Oh my God. That's
kids were
so
savages.
yeah.
But I also think that back to like learning off of things though, when I did real estate, I learned a lot about like marketing.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, it's great having a business partner. I love having Amanda because she's really great with paperwork and I hate all of that. So she does all our paperwork and I'm like, I'll work on our marketing. So I do like our Instagram posts and stuff like that. I was like, this is something that and like Canva is like, I had to do all that in real estate. So I learned how
Mhm.
to do the marketing. We're getting into like all the social media stuff because I hate social media, but now I have to post 80 times a day.
Mhm.
But it is interesting. You learn from so many people. I've learned, like, we always say collaborate, don't compete. It's like our big thing.
Yes.
Especially in the aesthetics industry, I'm sure like the Pilates industry can be like this too
Mhm.
sometimes, or even education too. Like you want to learn from other teachers and other people. And some people are just kind of not like that. Like, especially in our industry, you meet a lot of like bitchy people. And it's so
Totally.
funny because yeah, it's like and you, like, reach out to people and they're, like, kinda weird about it or they're
Mhm.
skeptical, and it's hard because like, you do kinda have to assume the worst because it's your business and, you don't
Yeah.
want someone to jeopardize it, but I've made so many connections in this field, and we do trades, I learn from them, like, I know someone and she's been waxing for 6 years, so I wax her, she waxes me, and I learn so much from her, and we always talk about different products, and now, like, even with, like, Facebook groups, all the products that I have, I'm on their groups, everyone talks about questions and results, and I think too, like, as women, I think we really all wanna see each other succeed, like, women have
Yes.
been put
Yeah.
down for so long, and so we're really big of, like, we want to be women positive, we're not here to
Yeah.
shame you about something. Even, like, in aesthetics, as you said, it can be that industry of, like, we don't shame you for wrinkles or for your acne or for whatever,
Yeah.
your thing is, and you overclicked your brows when you were stressed when you were 16 and now they won't grow. It happened to all of us. So we're so like, we're not here to judge you. We're here to make you feel confident. This
Mhm.
is really, it's like the beauty industry. And I kind of hate that like phrase in a way. Because there's
Yeah.
really like, it's the confidence industry. We're here to make you
Yeah.
feel confident. When you do your hair, when you have a cute outfit on, when you look presentable, and I feel like it shows how you're feeling. Like whenever I don't feel good,
Totally.
I like make sure to like have a cute outfit on, do something, and immediately I'll feel better,
Yeah.
Totally.
So
Yeah. I think that it's sad because I think women should be like women empowerment and like it's like we've been like torn down or like pushed down by so many other people. We shouldn't be doing that to ourselves. But yeah, I really like that you're doing that and especially in the industry that you're in. I think that can be extra sort of catty or competitive. And I think it's weird how some people have this mentality of, well, it was hard for me and I had to struggle. So that I'm gonna like I can't give you
Mhm.
something because that you like then somehow that makes it like, well, you already struggled. Why would you want someone else to struggle? Right. It's like, it's not
Right.
going to give you back your time. So I kind of always think about it like that. Like, if I can help someone out and they can avoid, especially a woman, if they can avoid the struggle that I had to go through, or like, who care? Like, who cares? What is to me, if one succeeds, we all succeed. So I wish more people had that. And I think at least in my group of women, like I see it a lot that people are like that. But I think in a larger sense, women still are quite competitive. I think sometimes we're worse than like men at like being like
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
with us. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like I
Right.
just
Right.
that makes me sad because I think if we just all banded together, we would be like totally unstoppable. Because let's
Unstoppable.
be honest,
100%. We're more
men.
organized too. We'll
Yeah.
organize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
see that
I
meme floating
know.
around on TikTok? Like, it's like me when men, and she's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is so me lately. Like, I love a select few, but honestly, in some ways, I'm just like, really, why? What's
Well, and
happening?
also in our industry, it's so hard because, we do have male clients, we do take male clients, and I have a ton of guy friends, and I grew up with a lot of like male cousins. So I've just always been around men a lot. So I get along with them very well, and I have a lot of guy friends. And I think it's so cute though, because in our industry, it's like so women focused.
Yeah.
But there's like the new movement of like, well, men also deserve to like be pampered and,
Hmm.
Yeah.
so we always are like, "Oh, like, come in with your man and, like, oh, you'll get your lashes done, like, you guys can do it all. We use his credit card, though, don't worry." Like, right? Like, no, but it's so funny because, it is hard, I think, especially when you're solo, how we are it does open up, like unfortunately, not all men are great, and it does open up this thing of, like, okay, well, unfortunately, we do have to be a little skeptical because if it's not someone we know like, I got a DM from someone actually this morning for, like, "Oh, do you guys also wax men?" I'm like, "We do wax men too," but, like, it's great having a partner because whenever, like, we
More
have a
safe.
female client, we make sure that the other one's there for safety, but it definitely can bring in, like but we also want women to feel safe, so it's also,
Yeah.
like, we want women to feel safe too, so we make sure that, like, the men that are here are
are there for the
good.
right
You know,
reason.
most of them are like referred to us
Right.
from their girlfriends
Yeah.
and stuff too, which is
Right.
great. But you also hear a lot of horror stories in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, we
No,
hear a
it's
lot of horror stories.
real.
So it makes
Yeah.
it hard.
You have to be
But
safe
it
and
is
smart.
yeah, but it is like it is growing. Like you see all the men doing Pilates and half the time
Yeah.
they're struggling. Men doing Pilates and men, you know, I saw videos of, like men at like his first yoga class and stuff like that. So we're seeing it more and it would be great to open up the industry to both, you know, the more the merrier, but it's always a little
Yeah.
bit heart sinking when you see a male on your books and you're like, okay, like let's pray for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, especially for your work is more intimate in certain ways too. So I
Yeah.
think it
Yeah.
totally makes sense, just that extra layer of just
hmm
curiosity, caution,
Well, and there's women that
information.
don't take men. I saw a woman, but she doesn't because her husband doesn't approve of it. And I was like, well, now you're
That's a weird
sexualizing our
reason.
industry. That's not at all
I was
sexual.
like,
I was
maybe it's
like,
like she has a weird experience in her past, but like that's an
no, I
unfortunate
was like for
reason
her
for
Yeah.
that.
husband, I was like, that's interesting because I feel like that's the other thing. Do I think our industry gets so sexualized and even like men and the comments they make, and I'm like, ew. I'm just like, ew,
Yeah.
get
Yeah. Yeah.
away from me.
Yeah. The
But
one
yeah, it's definitely
oh no, go ahead.
well, it's definitely like growing for both sides. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
That's
we learn as we go.
Yeah, that's all we can. I mean, and that's what I've loved about where we live now, because I also too such a city girl my whole life. So to live in such a small place confused me at first, but now I'm kind of here for it. But what I love about it is there are so many smaller businesses with just like really awesome individuals who are like, this is a hole. I want to fill it. Fuck it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the risk and go all in. And I love how much we can all hype each other up and support each other and rely on each other and refer people to each other. And it's just been such
Totally.
a nice community where I think sometimes in bigger cities, the downfall is like you're a smaller fish in a much bigger pond where
That's
like
true.
you can't even play in the
Yeah.
pool if you're not of a certain whoever. And so
Totally.
I kind of loved just that aspect of the growth. And I think it's what's allowed probably both of us to be able to jump so hard and find success in some of these newer businesses more quickly than maybe an area that's much more saturated, not because the talent or the skill isn't there, but just like there's so many things to pick through. And so I've just kind of loved the general energy of most folks over here and across the board of businesses has been really welcoming so far. I mean, you always get
Yeah.
your outliers, but I feel like it's like a very unique thing that I haven't experienced in all. I've lived a lot of places and that's not always the case. And that competitive, like caution, scarcity mindset, while it exists, I feel like it's much less here from what I've kind of noticed than some other
Yeah.
places, you know?
Well, that's why I got out of real estate because I was like, everyone's so competitive. It's so fake. Everyone's
Yeah.
posting things like it's like not even their listing. It's not like, and fake it till you make it 100%. But it was just like this, it was just so,
No, it
yeah,
wasn't
not
for
my
you. It
thing.
wasn't
But I
authentic.
also think too, like, as you are somewhere longer, also as like you get older and you kind of like figure out yourself, like, I feel like you start to find like your tribe kind of. And I felt so like, I also was in a relationship where like, I wasn't going out, I wasn't hanging out with people, and it was very,
Yeah.
like, toxic. So I feel like I kinda, like, missed out on that aspect, but it takes a long time to kinda, like, find your people, and then as people do move, it's so hard because now your best friend is somewhere else, you don't have someone to go to
Yeah.
dinner with, like, you're
Yeah.
just calling them, like but it's
Yeah.
so different, and it's like finding your tribe when you move is the scariest thing, and that's why, like, when people move, it's like, just give it 6 months. I feel like it takes 6 months. Now with social media too, there are so many cool groups coming out, you just have to find the ones for you. Like, I've joined a walk club, I joined another, like, cool walk club kind of like collaborative. There's so many. There's Haven 22. I'm going to their event next Friday, but it's all amazing woman-owned businesses. So it is. I
Yep.
feel like there are a lot of people here in places where it is so supportive, like Bonita Springs, that whole strip, Sugar Shack,
Yeah.
Bohemian, Maria's, everyone supports each other. They all like do different deal chartreuse. So it is really cool to see that. And it's cool to be around like a community and culture like that because
Right.
I think, as you said, when you're in a big city, like it's not like that. When I was in New York City, I was like, oh, everyone's just kind of like rushing past. And I grew up in a small town. Everyone got pizza from the same pizza shop. It was owned by
Um,
the family next door. Everyone, like everything was,
mhm.
it was literally like a one block of where everything was. And so it's weird when you grow up like that and then move to somewhere that is a city like New York, and then you move somewhere that's like Southwest Florida, which I think is so unique because it's like a bunch of mini little cities, but
Yes.
nothing is so far that you can't get to it.
Right.
Um,
Or too
but it's
congested or crowded yet. I feel like the people are
yeah,
coming,
yeah. I
but
was gonna say
it's
it's
still
traffic
okay. It's not
season.
Miami yet, so we're good.
No, as long as it's not Miami. But
No.
then if you want to go to Miami, you can go to Miami. It's like this area
Yeah.
is somewhere that is like that, but I feel like less competitive, less scammy than Miami, which is so
Yes.
nice because
Yes.
Miami, I don't love the Miami vibe. But yeah, I so funny too because I was like, because I know you both have moved a lot, and I was like, oh, like then I lived in California for a summer too when I was 18, then New York, and I love California still. It's just so far from family, but I was always like, I want to be able to move and travel and do things. Now I have dogs, so it makes it a little bit harder. But it is interesting when you move different places and you kind of see like what you do and don't like. And I always thought like, oh, I hate Southwest Florida. I wouldn't stay here. And now I'm like, starting to love it because of the
I
people I've met. Like everywhere
mm,
you are, like, and being by the beach, of course. But I feel like when you meet your people, that's when you can
yeah.
like start to settle in. That's when you can call it home.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I was like, I don't know about this. I was like all
Yeah.
pouty about it. And now I'm like, oh, okay. It surprised me a lot. So, Melissa, maybe one
Yeah.
day we'll get you to come to the burbs. You never know.
I
Yeah.
mean, if like where you live, I feel like that, I don't know, that maybe is different. I wouldn't want to live in the suburbs here. I
No,
think
fair.
maybe that's it because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah.
The Chicago
landlocked. I
suburbs
don't
are
know.
so
Yeah,
different. No, yeah.
totally. And I think even in California, that's different because like that's where I grew up. So like the suburb
And
is
everything
like
is a
still
suburb
like
in California,
totally.
basically. You know
And
what
it's
I
like a
mean? Like,
mini,
yeah,
totally. It's like a mini city though. So it's like
yeah.
that's different
It's its
even.
own country over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. I
no,
mean,
Jersey suburbs was everyone knows your business. Everyone knows what's going on.
So,
I like blame it for my anxiety in life. I'm like, everyone's talking shit about you at the dinner table. It's just like, and it's so funny because then as you get older, you're like, kind of got to figure out how to get over that. But yeah,
mhm.
growing up in like the small suburbs, I can never do that again
yeah,
because there's like 500 people in our school. It was so
No,
tiny. It's like
that's
everyone knows everyone's business.
that's insane.
This feels more,
it's big enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
and more opportunity too. I think that's the big
yeah,
thing is like, and as it's growing, as you said, there's so much more. I mean, like you decided to have, well, you're going to be here for a while now, so you decided to have P3. So,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you started something here too. I think everyone, it is getting into like that entrepreneur mindset kind of around here. I think where
Hmm.
we're getting into like the small businesses.
Yeah.
Which is great.
No, it's
I think
awesome.
that's awesome. Just looking at the time, I want to maybe like think about. I heard you say something really poignant, which I don't even know if you like realized you said it earlier, but you talked about like knowing yourself. And I think that's like kind of the root of like all of these things you've talked about, right? Is like knowing yourself and like figuring out what works for you. Like that's like a common thread. I think maybe I've picked up throughout what you said, Annie. So I just wonder if there's like you've given us so many little nuggets. Is there any like one last like thought or piece of wisdom that you wanted to share with everyone as like a parting thought of just like your journey and like knowing yourself and like taking a path and wherever it leads? Like I think it's
Yeah.
a really
I
cool like
think
what you've said.
that it's so funny because my mom is so like she's so wise and she grew up in like a smaller area and was very sheltered, but then, she moved away from college and different things. And she's so supportive. I always joke and I'm like, I'm so lucky that you're my mom because you're so supportive. And a lot of parents probably think I'm batshit because my dad definitely did and was pissed I was going to college even though he didn't. So I'm really lucky because, so much is like how you're raised and who raises
Mhm.
you. Not everyone has the same opportunity. But I'm so grateful for her because she did not put pressure on me to be like, okay, like you're gonna go to college, you're gonna figure out what you want to do with your life, and that's what you're gonna do for the rest of your life,
Mm,
and you're gonna be in the rat race. She was
mhm,
like, oh, I actually understand why you hate corporate America because I'm working it and I've worked in it for
mhm.
years and there's a lot of bullshit.
Yep.
And so I think that there like wasn't a pressure. And I think that when you take the pressure off of yourself, it becomes so much easier. And I always had like a weird pressure that I needed to get everything done so early on and felt like the world was going to end if I wasn't like, doing everything I wanted to do by like 22 years old. It was so stupid.
Mhm.
And then I kind of like took the pressure off and I was like, wait, you have time. There's time to do things. And even if
Mhm.
you do die tomorrow, at least you've tried a few things and you've lived a life. That's our
Yeah.
biggest thing too. Me and Amanda are like, oh, should we go do this? And I was like, well, if we die tomorrow, we're probably going to be mad that we didn't. So we might as well like book that trip and do it, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
maybe like not the best way to live all the time. But I think that it's
No,
like
but I
getting
think it is
over,
good.
yeah, it's like getting over like those fears. And it's so hard because there's like this whole, I think there's so much pressure now to be super successful and to be super
Mhm.
successful young. And you need to make a bunch of money in order to be successful. And I
Mhm.
think that the best thing I saw was like, what is success to you? There's
Yeah.
like wealthy versus rich. You want to like, I want to be like wealthy in experiences and having good people around me and being authentic. And I think there wasn't really pressure growing up to like be somebody else necessarily. And was like, these are the things that you should do because you need to be a good person and you need to like live by like, do to those what you want done to you and to be a good person and have high morals. but there was never pressure like, oh, well, you need to live this kind of life. And having that was a blessing because I probably would just be working somewhere and be miserable right now if I didn't have that. But I
Yeah.
think that it's like a good reminder though, like I think like take a step back, look at the big picture. What do you want for your life and who do you want to be? Because I knew the person I wanted to be. When I started doing yoga when I was 15, 16, I started reading all the different books. I was never super religious but I still, believe in certain things and morals. But I was like, this is the kind of person I want to be. I want to be someone who
Oh,
walks into a room and feels confident. I want to be somebody who people can confide in and talk to. I've always had like a really bad RBF. So I'm always like, let's fix our face real quick. But I just knew, I think that like I had this idea of who I wanted to be. And then I kind of lost track of it at a certain point in life. And then I was like, okay, hold up, what are we doing? And I think self-reflection is so important too.
Mhm.
And I've always been someone who's like, okay, like, why did I feel like that? And it's also knowledge, I went through when I was working at the spa I was at a year ago, I had like an hour drive in traffic in the mornings and I would just listen to podcasts,
Yeah.
and you learn so much by listening to other people and their experiences. And then you're like, oh shit, these people who are successful actually like went bankrupt 3 times and lost multiple businesses. And like we
Yeah.
put so much pressure on ourselves. And I think take the pressure off, figure out who you want to be, what aligns with your life and your lifestyle and the life that you want, because you're the one living it. Who gives a shit what somebody else thinks? You're the person that has to deal with yourself and this life for a long time.
Yeah.
So figure out who you want to be and what aligns with that and the people that align with it too.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So
It's a
true.
beautiful message. And I think it's applicable at every age and stage. And we're constantly kind of revisiting it. So thank
Yeah.
you so much, Annie, for sharing your story, chatting with us today. And we'll see you all next time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of Tuesday Tea. We hope something here landed, encouraged you, or made you feel a little less alone.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to follow, rate, and share the podcast. It helps more people find these stories.
And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really supports the show.
For more ways to connect with us or learn about what we do, check out the links below.
And until the next cup, keep the tea hot
And the truth hotter.